Hello and welcome to Nerd Subculture. I am Jarrod and I'm joined here with me, Jarrod.
And Edwina.
And we are doing our first series, our first podcast ever. We are doing the Once More with Feeling, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. And that's what we're going to do, Eddie. But we thought that maybe instead of just doing the series, we go all the way back, Eddie. Is that right?
Yep, all the way back to where it all began with the 1992 movie with Kristy Swanson and Luke Perry. Did you see this movie back in the day?
Yeah, I saw this film back in the day. I remember it coming out and sort of being pretty popular at the time. I didn't go to the cinemas to see it or anything like that, but I do remember sort of hiring it on video, possibly. I can't really remember, but I think I would have hired it on video, maybe watched it on TV a few times. But yeah, I have not seen this film probably since the early 90s, a long, long time. Definitely not something I really wanted to return to at all. But I thought for this series, I thought it'd be nice to start from where it's all started from, the original film, and to see how that weighs up today, watching it in this day and age. It's very 90s, isn't it? Like watching it.
Yes.
It's one of those quintessential 90s films that when you watch it, it's like, oh yeah. I mean, it's only 1992, so it's kind of barely the 90s, really, when you think about it. But it's it is really like just like this.
Yeah, or it still has like the colors are really bright.
Yeah, you'd almost think that they'd walked off the set of Clueless or something and straight into this film. Like it's just
it's very similar to those movies of that time. Okay, so I probably saw this movie probably around 93, I'd say, like when it would have come out on. They used to take a year from the cinema to VHS. So yeah, probably in about 93 I saw this movie for the first time. I think I did really like it. I do remember singing the Cheer song with my friends. Like it was one of those weird things that came with the movie. Like, yeah, you sang these little cheers. Actually, I think I might have seen it at like a slumber party, to be honest.
It sounds like very much a slumber party
movie. Yeah. Yeah, now that I think about it, because I was trying to remember why we were all singing the Cheer, and then it sort of came back to me that I'm pretty sure we watched it.
Yeah, you seem to remember it quite quite easily.
I knew it word for word, and might have sung along quite correctly. And I probably haven't seen the movie in 10 years.
Yeah.
And what did you remember? Like before you saw the movie, before we did the rewatch, what did you remember about the movie?
I don't remember a lot. I do remember Paul Rubens being in it, and I do remember why he was cast in this film. We'll get into that a bit later. And Luke Perry being in it. That's pretty much all I remember. Yeah, I completely forgot that Rutger Hauer was in it. I don't even remember him being in it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's in this. Okay, he's a pretty forgettable villain.
Yeah, and when I think you said you remembered Luke Perry in the bedroom and his friend at the window.
Yeah, the window.
And then I said, do you remember who the friend was?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, no, who was the friend? I'm like, that was David Arquette was the friend in the window.
Right, okay.
It also had, two-time Oscar-winning actress Hilary Swank.
Well, definitely didn't remember that. I think it was actually her first film too.
It feels like she's in a different movie. But yeah, again, we'll probably get more into that later. This is though Joss Whedon did write the script for this movie, he has pretty much said it has nothing to do with the TV series.
Yeah, I've read that this is completely a non-canon in the Buffyverse. Oh.
Yeah, he pretty much wiped his hands of it after. Yeah. So we didn't even mention that Donald Sutherland's in it as well.
Yeah, he's in. I do remember him being in it, but I don't think he remembers being in it.
Yes. Pretty much Joss Whedon is reported to have walked off the set because Donald Sutherland just kept rewriting his lines. But I don't think he rewrote the lines. I think he just read the script once and then decided to just ad-lib the entire thing. Yeah. And the director didn't say anything.
But before we get that, let's first go through the synopsis of the film. High school senior Buffy, played by Kristy Swanson, attends Henry High School. Her main concerns are shopping and spending time with her rich, snooty friends and her boyfriend, Jeffrey. While at school one day, she is approached by a man who calls himself Merrick, played by Donald Sutherland. He informs her that she is the Slayer, or the Chosen One, destined to kill vampires, and his duty is to guide and train her. She initially rejects his claim, but is convinced when he's able to describe a recurring dream of hers in detail. In addition, Buffy is exhibiting uncanny abilities not known to her, including heightened agility, senses, and endurance, yet she repeatedly tries Merrick's patience with her frivolous nature, indifference to slaying, and sharp-tongued remarks. After several successful outings, Buffy is drawn into conflict with Lothos, played by Rutger Hauer, a local vampire king, and his acolyte Amlin, played by Paul Rubens. Two young men, Pike, played by Luke Perry, and Benny, played by David Arquette, who resented Buffy and her friends due to differing social circles, are out drinking when they are attacked by Amlin. Benny is turned, but Pike is saved by Merrick. As a vampire, Benny visits Pike and tries to convince Pike to join him. Pike tries to leave town but is attacked by Amlin and his gang of vampires. Amlin loses an arm in the attack, and Buffy and Merrick arrive to rescue Pike. After this encounter, Buffy and Pike start a friendship, and Pike becomes Buffy's partner in fighting the undead. Amlin also abducts Cassandra, a studious girl from Buffy's class, to sacrifice to Lothos. When her body is found, the news spreads through Los Angeles and Henry High, but her murder is met with indifference from Buffy's clique. During a basketball game, Buffy discovers that one of the players and a friend of Jeffrey's is a vampire. After a quick chase to a parade float storage yard, Buffy confronts Lothos shortly after she and Pike take down his gang. Lothos puts Buffy into a trance, which is broken by Merrick's intervention. Lothos stabs Merrick with the stake he attempted to use on him. Lothos leaves, saying Buffy is not ready. As Merrick dies, he tells Buffy to do things her own way rather than live by the rules of others, and gives her one final clue: remember about the music. Because of her new life, its responsibilities, and the heartbreak of losing Merrick, Buffy starts neglecting her social life. When she attempts to explain things to her friends, they refuse to understand her, as they are more concerned with an upcoming school dance. Buffy falls out with them as she realizes she has outgrown their immature, selfish behavior. At the senior dance, Buffy is dismayed to find that Jeffrey has dumped her via answering machine and is now seeing one of her friends. However, Pike shows up and they share their first kiss on the dance floor. Lothos sends his remaining minions to the school to attack Buffy at the dance. Buffy confronts the vampires outside, while in the gym, Pike fights and kills the vampiric Benny. After overpowering the vampires, Buffy confronts Lothos inside the school and kills Amlin. Lothos attempts to entrance Buffy again, but when the music from the dance stops, she remembers Merrick's words, defends herself, and escapes. Buffy sees her classmates recovering from the vampire attack, but Lothos bursts into the gym, promising to kill everyone. The Slayer and the vampire duel. In the end, Buffy stakes Lothos and kills him. The film ends with Buffy and Pike leaving the dance on a motorbike, riding off into the sunset. The end.
Okay.
So, getting back to what you were saying before, Eddie, about revisiting it in such a long time.
Yeah. So all I really remember about it, I remember there just being so much yellow. Like it's one of those movies, like the saturation of the yellow just was
Lots
really
of yellows, yes.
lots of
yes.
yellow. I remember that it was that quirky, the sassy, quirky kind of quick tongue nature of Buffy that I could remember. Like the what's the sitch, like that language that supposedly girls in the 90s had, according to American movies.
Yeah, there was a real stereotype of teenage girls of like the whatever sort of
Whatever.
sort of thing. I don't know if those girls actually existed.
Or like, what's your damage?
Those really contrived, conceited girls who are just all about shopping and stuff. I mean, I suppose girls were like that, but this is, I suppose, being a film, it's always sort of exaggerated too.
Yeah, I remember lots of cheerleading. I do remember Paul Rubin and the overdoing it with the dying scene. Lots of Letterman jackets. The classic Buffy look with the prom dress and like the white prom dress and the leather jacket.
That almost seemed like her superhero outfit in the end.
Yeah, that's a kind of her superhero outfit. It does like that that's probably one thing that does come back in the TV series.
The leather jacket.
Oh, the leather jacket and the prom dress.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I do remember that David Arquette thing in the window, like him.
Yeah, see, I remember that scene, but had no idea it was David Arquette. It's so weird to go back and watch that.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's him.
The fact that the fact that he's on the second floor, that's why. But Pike's reaction to that.
Yeah, seemed a little nonchalant about that. It's like, oh, come on, man. Always meets him outside the door, you know? And he's like, oh, actually, we're 2 stories up. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Should we talk a little bit about the cast as well? Like, you know, it was his heyday at the time that he made this movie. But I was never actually a Luke Perry. Like, you know, most, like, girls who watch 90210, you're either a Luke Perry fan or a Jason Priestley fan.
Yeah, okay.
I was definitely not a Luke.
Team Jason, Team
yeah,
Luke.
I was definitely Team Jason.
You had the other one, the team. What's the other vampire?
I know, what is it? The Twilight.
Yeah.
Team. Jacob.
And Shovelface.
Shovelface. What's Shovelface's name? Yeah. But you know, you've also got the Angel Spike. Who's Team Angel, who's Team Spike, type thing, you know. And I think Christy Swanson was sort of the it girl at the time. Like, she was sort of an up and coming girl. I think they actually wanted Drew Barrymore.
I had to look up. I think even Alyssa Milano was approached.
Yeah, Alyssa Milano was also approached.
Yeah, they had a few people in mind. Yeah, I think either those two could have gone either way. You know, I mean. I don't think it really made the movie. I think, you know, the movie's as good as it's going to be. I don't think a lead role change would have, you know, altered the film at all.
Yeah, I think Donald Sutherland is completely in this for the paycheck.
Yeah, yeah.
He phones it in pretty much.
I know, he's just pulling the same face the whole time, and you just tell he does not want to be there. And even watching one of the making of videos, and he's sitting there saying, "I'm in a movie called Buffy the Vampire Slayer," and he just looks like hell.
Yeah.
Why did I agree to this? You know, and the ultimate
and like,
look of regret on him.
Yeah, and as you said, Rutger Hauer, you know, he's just, you know, so memorable and amazing in Blade
he's a good
Runner.
actor. He's not really bad in this. He's not really in it much, to be honest. And it's also one of those things. He's the villain, like he's the main bad guy, but it's not really clear on what he wants to do with Buffy. If you sort of notice,
he has very you're correct. Like, you don't, like, he keeps saying, like, he has multiple opportunities to kill her, and he's like,
these vague intentions.
Very vague intentions.
Like, he wants to seduce her, or he wants to turn her, or he wants to.
Yeah, there's sort of that weird scene with, like, there's that red ribbon that also, like, there's like this red ribbon throughout it. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize, but. You know, like there's that scene where
breaking her red ribbon.
Well, there's that scene where he like, and it's quite a beautiful scene, but like it's probably the only spooky scene in the entire movie for a so-called horror comedy. And it's, you know, when she has she's getting ready for bed, and she puts the red ribbon in her hair, and as she's lying down, Lothos is actually in the bed with her.
Yeah.
And it's done as and that's it. That's the scene. Like, nothing actually really.
Yeah, but then he almost does that Dr. Evil thing, you know, and almost expected Seth Green to pop out and say, "We can kill her now."
You do know Seth Green is actually in this movie.
I had to look it up. He reckons his part was cut, but apparently you see the back of his head when she kicks him in one of the fighting scenes at the end of the.
Oh no, you get like a brief 1 second shot of him.
I'm not even sure that was him.
He's in with a group of
I saw that, but I was questioning whether that was him. It was hard to tell because God, what was he, like 12 then or something?
Possibly. So who else is there's also young.
Oh, I forgot about Hilary Swank.
Oh yeah, Hilary
Oscar
Swank.
winner Hilary Swank, who also starred in 90210.
Yes, she did. She did.
Yeah. Even someone like me knows that, who's not a 90210 fan.
No, I remember her being a main.
She was actually a main character. Was she?
Well, no, she was one of the girls. Like, she was in a few episodes.
Is that towards the end, or was it? Or
yeah, it was in the college years.
So Luke,
she had a kid. Like, in the show, it was about her. She had a kid, and she was seeing Steve.
Okay. Was Luke Perry still in the show then when she
Oh,
was on
I
it?
don't think so.
So maybe they weren't on it just at the same time then, maybe.
I don't think so.
Let's maybe the last episode, maybe they did like got all the cast back, maybe, or something.
Oh, I doubt it by then. I think by then she had actually sort of started to make a bit of a name for herself. But yeah, she's sort of the Cordelia-esque character that's incredibly vapid and she's the frenemy. She's her frenemy. Like she does a lot of stuff behind her back.
Always pulling that sort of horrid face all the time, like the disgusted face with everything. Everything's like she's constantly got that look.
Yeah, she just seems like she's very, very jealous of Buffy.
I think that jacket looked terrible on you the next day she buys it.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
And like, because Buffy, goes to the jacket going, oh my God, wouldn't this look amazing on me? And then she lends it to the girl who dies. And then she's more upset about her jacket than the friend dying. Yeah.
Now, I think we got to talk about Paul Reubens. And I think we might have mentioned this a little earlier. So Paul Reubens, if you're not familiar with, is of course the actor who plays Pee Wee Herman, who, when this film was made, was involved in a bit of a scandal involving a cinema and possibly some naked exposure in said cinema, and was arrested. And there was a very infamous mugshot of Paul Reubens that was released, and in it he looked nothing like Pee Wee Herman. If you know what Pee Wee Herman looks like, he had the long hair, he had the goatee, and I actually do remember. I don't know where I saw this. I did looking for it.
Yeah, it was one of the casting directors said that he saw Paul Reubens on the news in that mugshot. And was like, oh, I want that guy for this movie.
I want that guy.
That's who I want in this movie.
Which is funny. It's exactly what he looks like too. And that was also the thing I remembered was Paul Reubens' death as well. And him doing that, dying and then looking hurt. And
it was in the trailer. And it seemed to go on a little too long in the trailer as well. All right, let's talk about the tone of this movie, because it is, like the editing, all over the place.
Yeah, I feel that it's quite hard to sort of juggle two sort of genres in one film. You've got comedy, horror, and it's not something that's really been done a lot. And I think it kind of failed on both, really. I mean, there were some funny moments, but I didn't think it was that overly funny movie. It wasn't sort of punching that joke a minute.
Hello, it was awesome. No, that was where the comedy comes from. The comedy was coming from the quippy lines.
But then there was some parts where there was like the early in the scene when it mentioned a girl being murdered, and one bystander mentioned that it looked like a gross hickey.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, yes.
One bystander reported that it looked like a gross hickey. Like, what?
That he had a gross hickey on his neck.
What the hell was that? I'm not sure if that was really intentionally meant to be funny or what. Like they're just asking some random guy what it looked like, what a mark on a dead body looked like. There's a couple of moments like that I wasn't really sure was trying to be funny.
Yeah. So, but it also had absolute so. Then I don't really know where the horror was coming from, because honestly, for a horror movie, there is hardly any blood. Like Paul Reubens loses an arm. There's no blood. So I'm guessing they were trying to go on the comedy angle with there being no blood. But then you lose the horror. Like there was just no gore in this movie at all.
Yeah.
But then they had the ice machine, so that foggy stuff got.
Yeah.
But that happens after he's just lost an arm. Like there's no blood. There's nothing, and I get they're dead and whatever. But even when the humans are when Merrick dies, there's no blood.
Yeah. I think they had to sort of tone it down in order to get the low rating. I think it was rated M or PG.
I think it was a PG-13, or PG or.
No F-bombs in it though. I don't think they didn't drop one. Didn't use it.
No.
See, the thing is though, with the show, what I've seen, when they stab someone with a stake, it seems quite violent in this when they just stab a vampire, like where they just, because in the show, of course, when they stab a vampire, they explode into dust. But here, where they just kind of stab a dead body, and it's kind of just there, and it seems a little more gruesome that way. I feel like when you're just seeing someone just get stabbed. I mean, okay, it's a vampire, but yeah, I think it's a good change they did with the show, maybe to have that just to seem that little less violent, maybe. I think. So yeah.
Yeah. What I was trying to say about the horror element, that fog that you get in a cemetery. It's only spooky when it's in a cemetery, and they try to make like the scenes in the gym spooky by putting the ice machine on like that.
Yeah, as they walk out, there's like
there's
like the smog there, and the vampires are just all going it does look. I think it's meant to look ridiculous, but it's definitely not scary.
But it like looks a little too ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, see, even the scary part, like I mean, it's hard to look back at a film that's only 30 years old and find it scary. There's not too many films that can sort of hold up to that, and this one wasn't really going hardcore scary. I mean, look at It. I mean, the 1990 version of It, like that.
That only scarred me for life.
Well, that seemed scary at the time, but if you watch it now, it's just hilarious, and you just kind of look back and think, what the hell was I so scared? So it's kind of hard to sort of retrospectively look back and think what really scared me about this movie. Maybe the vampires were a little scary, but now they we're sort of grown out of that, and they just sort of seem ridiculous and just look like idiots with makeup on, going we definitely don't find that scary. It's been done so many times, of course.
Yeah,
so.
But then they probably needed like perhaps a little more drama within it as well. Like, so, in the TV series, when someone dies, it hurts. Like, it is always like the weight of a death in the TV series is always very heavy. But in this, like, her friend dies and no one cares. Like, all these, like, when Donald Sutherland dies, there's just no weight to his death at all.
Well, it probably has the most weight in the film of any death, but they get over it pretty quickly and move on. And keeping in mind, she only knew this guy for a few scenes, and even some of the deaths are just really lame. Like Rutger Hauer's death, where he gets stabbed and just kind of rolls over and just pulls a cape over his head, and that's it. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like it's always that trope, I guess, or the cliche that the boss guy has to die in a big huge explosion, or has to be big and epic, falling down a cliff and looking up and going, it has to be something like that. But in this one was very anticlimactic. She just kills him and he's dead. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, I'd also say the movie's like quite heavily influenced by Heathers and Teen Wolf, especially the basketball scene. Like that scene with with baby Batfleck.
Yeah, it's funny. The vampire basketballer looks a lot like the Monstars Center. If you ever noticed that,
yes, from
the first thing I saw that from Space Jam, I'm like, that's the Monstars Center, the Sean Bradley monster genetic mismatch they did. Yeah,
and it was funny watching the documentary on the making, and the director said she actually really remembered Ben Affleck because he kept asking her questions like what am I meant to be doing in this scene?
What's my motivation?
What's my motivation?
I don't know. Could that be true? Would he really be doing that? Asking, what's my motivation? Being being a one-line extra in a film like this, I mean, obviously you're just going to go there and just play basketball.
Yeah, well, apparently the director wasn't actually. Well, why the movie is so all over the place.
Who was the director again?
It's Fran Rubel Kazooie. Or is it Kazoo?
Yeah. So I looked her up, and it looked like she's only made like 2 films or 1 film prior to this. Some Korean film, I think it might have been, or something. And that's pretty much all she'd ever did. So it was but I think she did have some producer credits on the Buffy the Vampire series show as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so apparently her approach to directing this movie was to just let the actors do whatever they wanted to do. I liked it. Which is why you've got Hilary Swank just not matching what all the other actors are doing. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm really surprised to hear a director say that, because usually they're fighting with actors who want him to trying to do their own stuff and just are completely over it and want them to stick to the script, and then you get a director like her who just seemed more than happy to let the actors do what you want. Oh, actually, hang on, something else she did. She was a producer on Orgasmo as well. So direct movie Tokyo Pop. So I've never heard of that film. I said a Korean film. I was way off.
I think she's married to a Korean guy.
Yeah, and I think one of these actors was actually in the film briefly as well. So yeah, strange to only have those two films in a credit, and they were both within a few years of each other, 1988 and 1992 respectively, and that was about it. So a lot of producer credits, though, well, especially with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series and Angel as well. She did a lot of producer credits. So, but has done not much since. So yeah.
Yeah, Joss Whedon was quite disgruntled about the direction that she took with the movie. Like, he's renowned on the TV series that the actors never were allowed to ad lib. They had to stick strictly to his scripts. And he's kind of been renowned for that now. Like,
a bit of a contrast, is it, to have someone who's a control freak and the next
well, I have a feeling he is a bit of a control freak. And he really did have a hard time with Donald Sutherland, who in this movie also comes off as, he's so creepy. Like, he's just...
Yeah,
he's
waiting for in a changing rooms. I mean, what can get at a girl
he creeps up
at
to
a
her,
high school?
He creeps up to her in the elevator, like, and he just sort of stands there and looks at her, and then goes in. Then he's like staring at her in the gym, like while they're cheerleading. He's just standing in the gym, and then he's in the locker room. And then he's kind of creepy when he goes and picks up Pike off the road while he's drunk going.
Oh, he saved him though. That's why.
Yeah, but Pike's drunk. Like, he's passed out on the roadside and he's just coming up going, "Oh, you can't sleep here."
Well, he just saved one guy. Or the other guy got killed, so he kind of saved him, I guess. That's probably why he did that.
And I do have to say, like, Luke Perry does, the quintessential bad boy in this movie.
Yeah, he plays that role pretty well in the day, didn't he?
Yeah, he had the leather jacket, and he was drinking from a flask in a movie theater.
Oh, okay, that's very cool.
That's totally totally
bad boy.
Totally bad boy. And yeah, there are some very weird scenes in this movie as well.
Well, they have the opening scene where it does that little medieval, they're in a castle or something, and it's only for about, it's briefly, like for a few seconds.
Yeah, they go to the Middle Ages and then they go the light ages. Like, I think that's the joke.
Yeah. So is it meant to be a reincarnation in this film?
Yeah, I have a feeling they're reincarnated into their...
It almost seemed like Merrick is always reincarnated, but he seems to always remember who he is, but Buffy doesn't, and he has to remind her every time. It seems like that'd get really annoying. Or is he immortal? Or because it seemed like he was like the same person every time, but Buffy seemed slightly different.
Yeah. She was meant to have a mole, but
she had birthmark.
Yeah, but she had it removed.
Yeah.
I could talk about what ends up being different from the movie.
Okay, so yeah, what did they keep in the show and change from the movie?
The only thing they really keep from the movie is her, like, other than her, like, she's definitely more powerful in the TV series.
Yeah.
But she also doesn't get period pain cramps every time she sees a vampire.
That was an odd choice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think Joss Whedon put that in there, or was that put in there by someone else?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I haven't. You know what? I should probably read it. There is a comic. Maybe they call
them vamps.
There is a comic.
Oh, get some
called
bad vamps here.
Buffy. There is a Buffy Origins comic which has been written based off his original script.
Right.
I should have a look at that to see if she gets a period pain cramps in that. But in the TV shows, Giles does say, like, she should be able to feel, like, she should have a sense when she can see, like, she should be able to just look in a room and see that there's a vampire.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really, but she can still kind of, but she picks out the guy because of his clothes or something. Definitely the vampires are definitely very different.
Yeah.
In this, they've got the weird. All they really have is the weird ears. They've got like these pointy ears.
Yeah, weird pointy ears
and weird pointy teeth,
and the eyebrows too. I think they thicken the eyebrows out or something too. I think and the fangs. Yeah, so they're very traditional sort of looking vampires, and they seem to be in vampire mode the whole time as well.
Yeah. Whereas in the show, they get the bumpy face. Also, they don't disappear. They're staked in the movie as they do in the TV show, but.
Oh, also the flying thing as well.
Oh, yeah, they can't fly in the movie.
Yeah, although they didn't really use it a lot.
TV show.
They didn't use it a lot in the film, but
no.
Yeah, I think that was possibly more of a economic choice, budget choice than a artistic one, because you can't. I don't know. You kind of figure when you have characters fly in a TV show, that sort of adds a whole other sort of logistics of having wires and stuntmen and people, choreographing flying through the air or bad, CGI graphics or whatever, So I really, that's probably a good idea in that one. I think the flying thing's a bit tacky, I think, isn't it? Vampires fly, Why do they fly anyway? I mean, they should only fly when they're a bat, and that makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why fly when you can just fly,
Yeah. And I don't know, she didn't really have healing powers in this. I didn't really think
she didn't really get injured though. Did she?
She did get injured. You see her she's bleeding at one stage on her arm. Buffy from the TV series wouldn't even look at that, get it treated. It would be healed by the time she got home. Oh yeah, I was pretty disgusted by Rutger Hauer eating the kitten.
Feed me a stray kitty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I wanted to say about the training montage that she has. Is a Divinal song.
Now the Divinals, yes. The Divinals are a very, very great, legendary, I should say, Australian band. May have heard one of their songs before, I Touch Myself. That was sort of their one-hit international wonder, but they were very, very, very popular in Australia for a long time, had many, many charting songs.
In the movie, there's the training montage with the Divinal song, and in the TV series, Buffy has, like, one of her friends that she knew from Henry, is at the school, and she talks about how she had a crush on him, and she used to pine in her room listening to the Divinal song I Touch Myself, not realizing what it was actually about. Pining over this boy.
So it comes back again. Okay.
Pike's car that he tries to run away in looks an awful lot like the Mystery Machine.
Yes, I noticed that too.
And in the TV series, they end up calling their group the Scoobs.
Okay, so a few Scooby-Doo references there. Okay, very nice.
I also noticed the way that Buffy dresses from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. She starts, the movie is sort of in that era. We're leaving the 80s and we're about to go into the grunge era.
Yeah.
So the start of the movie, she is all in her bright, colourful, very Valley Girl clothes. And as the movie goes on and she starts sort of being weighed down by her responsibilities, her fashion choices do start to really change.
Yeah, well, she had the miniskirt jeans, denim skirt. Well, she had the denim skirt, and it wasn't quite a flannel sort of shirt, but it was a flannel design, though, wasn't it? Sort of pattern.
Yeah. And then towards the end of it, like, she's pretty much just in jeans and like singlet tops and big shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
So and her clothes become far more practical, so to speak. And she stops wearing the high heels and she's in like boots and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a lot of character growth with Buffy, because she basically at the start of the film and the end, she's a completely different person. Basically, she starts off that as contrived, only cares in her materialistic sort of needs, and then by the end, she's a more caring and compassionate for other people, and a lot less self-centered.
Yeah, just realizing that there's a lot more going on in the world
Yeah, learning that she is not the center of the universe. So there's character development there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really fault Christy Swanson's performance in this. It's
No, I don't. I
and
don't
Luke
fault it.
Perry's
No.
really good.
Yeah. Paul, I think Paul Rubens stole the show.
He does steal the show, but then again,
Yeah.
I think he is kind of chewing the scenery.
Yeah. Well,
bit.
look, why not? And even the opening scene of him sitting on the carousel, and I'm thinking, Lost Boys, what is it with vampires on carousels?
Yes,
it's the same scene open with them on the carousel. So, but the fact of this being a TV movie that was converted into a TV show, so this was a trend that was sort of happening a lot in the early 90s.
So, unlike some people, I actually watched Buffy from the start on television, week to week. A lot of it came to it on either DVD or like Netflix. Much later, it was discovered. But yeah, at the time there was a trend of turning a lot of movies into TV series. So I think there was Clueless and Stargate and Buffy all came out at the same time. They were all the same summer.
And these films came out relatively recently too. Like so that there was it was a sort of quick jump start, and it's interesting how some can be really successful and some could just completely bomb.
Yeah, so Clueless didn't do so well, the TV series. Even though it actually had like a lot of the original.
Surprisingly, yeah, it did. I remember. I think virtually the whole cast apart
except from Alicia Silverstone,
was in it. So, it's surprising actually. Yeah, when you think about it, a Turk from.
Yeah, Turk
Scrubs?
From Scrubs.
How old is that guy? I mean, well, he was like 20 then, and wasn't he like 20 in Scrubs?
Oh no, he would have had to. No, he was a surgeon. He would have been like at least 28.
Yeah, but that was like in the mid 2000s. That was like 15 years later. He turned 8 years in 15 years. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he can play young. That's the thing.
I think he can. Yes.
There are just some actresses who are just constantly playing teenagers.
Yeah.
Who was it the other day we came across someone who was just always a teenager, even though they were like 30?
Wasn't it the girl in 90210, like 30? Playing
Gabrielle,
a teen? Yeah. The frumpy one. But yeah, just on the TV show, movies.
Well, Stargate was really successful.
And it's I think Buffy can be in the series can be one of the I don't know if you call it exceptions, but definitely the one that's overshadowed the film, where to the point that people have actually forgotten that there was a film for it originally.
Yeah, but you can say that about it. Happened with Stargate as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even MASH, like and a lot of people haven't even seen that film. I didn't even know there was a film to that. Yeah, it was made from original, which I think Donald Sutherland might have actually been.
Yes.
I don't think, but was it? I have never seen that. Was it played pretty straight, or was it a comedy? The film. I really love to know. Have you seen that? Or
you know what? I probably saw it many years ago. But the TV show wasn't really It did that.
Oh, it was a zingy one-liners and all that, but it was. I mean, it was played for laughs. Yeah. But I don't know how if with that original film was that funny. I don't know. May have to watch it one day, and find out.
From memory, I think it is actually quite serious. With it's a drama with a few, one-liners scattered throughout. The comedy comes from the witty remarks throughout.
Yeah. Here's one bit of trivia I do remember about MASH, even though I didn't really watch it, but the director who made the film, his son actually wrote the theme song for MASH, which if anyone knows is, the classic theme song for MASH.
Suicide is...
There are lyrics to it. The song is actually called Suicide is Painless, and apparently the son who wrote that song made more money from that than the father did from directing the film. So if that's to any account of how successful the TV show was compared to the movie, I don't know if it was a big budget movie or a big box office draw. In fact, what box office did Buffy sort of get? I don't think it was a bomb per se, but I don't think it was smashing.
Well, it didn't have a huge budget to begin with.
So yeah, with apparently a budget of $7 million, And
Which is
so
absolutely nothing.
grossed worldwide apparently 16. So, you know, I mean, these numbers are kind of all a little fictitious sometimes. They're not really, you know, representative of what they actually mean. But apparently it grossed 16 mil in the US and 16 mil worldwide. So with with a budget of about 7 million. So it looks like it turned a profit. You know, nothing to sort of, you know, get it too excited about. But I guess, you know, enough for it to make them think that, hey, you know, there's something to make out of this.
So what was your favourite quote from this movie?
Well, look, I think I think Paul Rubens just nailed it.
Kill him a lot.
That's definitely my favorite one. Although the news report I was saying one witness said it looked like a gross hickey. It's just one of those moments. I'm just imagining a reporter asking people, you know, what a mark on a dead body looked like, and then reporting that to the news, and then the guy reading that. That's what makes me laugh about that.
Yeah, I do like Paul. What was the Paul Rubin? When you ever get that not so fresh feeling?
Oh, what was it? Oh,
kind of hinting that he could that she was on her period.
Well, you're tying into the whole PMS.
Yeah.
A procognition sense that she has.
Yes.
It's an odd ability, isn't it? It's, Out of all the abilities a woman would go for, you know, superpowers, healing,
PMS,
super PMS. Definitely written by a guy.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Yeah.
So what rating would you give it?
Look, I got to say it's not a great movie. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's not a bad movie. It's not terrible. There's definitely something to take from it. You know, it is one of those snapshot in time sort of films where you really look at that and you can sort of see this is what things were kind of like.
It was,
almost.
You know, it was in that period of time that was
the pre-grunge era. You know, so
it was very 90s, before grunge, and still influenced by the 80s.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely have that. And as far as a rating, I'd probably give it a low 5, high 4. Yeah, nah, it's not that great. It's pretty harsh, isn't it?
Oh, I'd probably give this. I don't know. Look, I think, you know what? I've still got there is this nostalgia to the movie that I can't quite get past. And the fact that it does spawn like my favorite TV series of all time, I can't be too hard on it because so I'd probably go like a 6. 2 points for nostalgia.
Well, that was fun. Our first podcast, and yeah, I'm pooped. So
should I go grr-arg? Grr-arg.
So I think that about wraps it up. I'm Jarrod.
I'm Edwina.
This is our first podcast, The Nerd Subculture. Now, the next series we'll be bringing you the Once More with Feeling, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. We're going to go episode by episode, counting down one by one. See if Eddie convinced me this is the greatest show ever. I don't think she can.
Grr-arg.
Take care. Bye.
Kill him a lot.